Welcome to the live stream, everybody. It's Captain Trucker. Appreciate you all tuning in. We're in Arizona today, and I think I had to restart my live stream. So I apologize for anybody who I think it may have cut off earlier. I can't really see because I'm driving, but anyway, welcome to the stream. Yeah, the topic today is we're driving through the Arizona desert, folks, and I was thinking about what we need to do to get out of the system. Getting out as expats, getting out of the matrix. It's possible, and we just got to do it. We got to take risks sometimes. I think sometimes we just become so risk adverse in life that we don't end up doing anything. It's crazy. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Everybody hit that like button. The last one abruptly cut off, so I apologize for that. I can't see the comments while I'm driving, but I can feel you guys here in spirit, so talk among each other. And when I pull over, we'll continue. I'll read your comments. But I've been having good conversations with people lately. I've been talking to people from all walks of life, people that work in IT, people that work in law enforcement, and just different fields and different stages of life. Guys in their 40s and 30s and stuff. And I think that, we're seeing like people are starting to get the memo earlier in life, and I think they're preparing to live as expats before it's sort of like a last ditch option. I mean, there's always options, whatever age you are, to go out to the Philippines in your 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, or whatever, but a lot of people never make it there, man. And I guess for those of us that are able to get out, we might take it for granted. And I think it's why a lot of people watch these channels and other channels, because they get to see what life is like there. They get to sort of live vicariously through other vlogs and see other places and travel, and that's all cool, man. That's good stuff. I appreciate that too. Because, life's hard, folks. Life can be stressful, but we just got to be strong, man. We got to train. Not enough of us Americans are training, all right? Now, you don't have to be like hardcore bodybuilder or some Olympian athlete. You just got to move. We're too sedentary, man. We got to keep moving. Because training's really good for the brain, too. It really is. There's a misconception among people that like to train, right? They used to think bodybuilders were just into vanity and just into looking in the mirror and looking at themselves. And while part of that's true, possibly, there's a bigger story going on, man. Like, you talk to all the great champions and the great athletes, it's like there's something mental going on, man. Like there's a higher level of frequency that you get from training with a higher purpose. And I've always said that it starts in the mind. It's actually good for me to get like a dopamine high, and it's fantastic. It's like better than anything else, man. So for me, it always like kind of started in the mind, and then like the body was second. That's all cool too, but like for me, like I don't train like, I gotta go, add definition here, or I want to increase my muscles and my biceps. It's not really the drive, right? So anyway, we got to stay alive, man. We got to keep moving. We got to keep training. So wherever you are out there, do whatever you can, man. Just walk for a half hour a day if that's all you can do. For some people, that can be the difference between living a long time and living a horrible life. And if you have access to a sauna, man, you're living in luxury already. What can I say? Anyway, hit that like button. Welcome to the live stream. We're at the end of 2025, folks. A lot of stuff has gone on this year. And I've been enjoying blogging. I was kind of on I just wasn't as intense this year. 2024, man, I was pushing it, dude. I was like, let's talk about the Philippines and expats and culture and compare and contrast. And I was into it every day, man. I was banging it out. I was talking to the people. I could envision the people out there. I could feel the connection, the synergy, the connection that we all have together. It's great, man. Like everything's in sync, you know, everybody's together. We all affect one another, man. I really believe that. I believe that everything's interconnected, man. And so, what are we putting out to the universe? Are we putting out positive energy? Are we encouraging people? Or are we just being cynical? Are we tearing people down? Are we being negative? Are we being bitter? Are we jealous? Or are we encouraging people, man? Are we setting the example? Are we leaders or followers? You know, all that kind of stuff. These are very deep internal questions that you start to ask yourself as a human being. Whatever you're doing in life. That's what it comes down to, man. Where do we fall? Where do we rise? I mean, do we rise again? Some people fall hard, dude. People go through stuff in life, man. You always hear stuff about midlife crises, you know? For me, it's like, I think it was more spiritual. I don't want to say dark night of the soul, but I think when you come to a point in life where you realize that, you know, we really do live in this like spiritual world, it's kind of amazing. And it can be beautiful, but it can also be scary. So, you know, don't dwell on the darkness. You know, you always got to look at the light, man. You can be in a room filled with darkness. A life that's dark, and just one beam of light can change anything. One positive thing can drive you forward. That's how strong positivity is, right? Because everybody comes from something, man. Like we inherit stuff from our ancestors, from our past. And some people feel it more than others, man. Like some people are able to just shut down and say, you know what? I'm not going to let things affect me. And they go through life and they do well in business. They can make a lot of money. They become millionaires, you know. But some people that go through the fire, so to speak, that go through the hard times, that go through the ups and downs, they learn something else that's kind of priceless, you know. And I don't mean that sound like cheesy, but it's kind of true. It really is. It's like you learn stuff when you come out on the other side. And the thing that you got to remember is that all that pain and anything you're going through is always temporary. It's kind of one of those metaphors of even training. I think some people don't like to train because it's painful, it's uncomfortable, they don't want to put in the effort, but it's one of those things that you develop that discipline. And, you know, part of it becomes mechanical, but once the pain is over, you feel great afterwards. Because not everything worth doing in life is going to be pleasurable, right? I mean, we can't be seeking pleasure all day. We can't be seeking pleasure all day, man. I think we live in this world where we're so catered. I mean, I know all the old timers say it like they I kind of feel like some of the old people, they get bitter. They say like, oh, you know, the younger people these days are so soft. But at the same time, maybe they're kind of jealous because they had it harder in some respects. But I think everybody goes through shit in life in any generation, right? I mean, things do improve though, for sure. It really does. I mean, life, the quality of life and all that kind of improves, for sure. Some things don't. I mean, we're not as archaic as we used to be, you know. We don't stone people anymore for their sins, right? Although maybe in some cultures they're still doing that, I don't know. That's kind of crazy, dude. But yeah, back to expat life, you know, there was a big propaganda machine in the West for a long time against the Philippines. The culture kind of does that to a lot of countries. We kind of had this for a very long time in America, this idea that we live in the greatest country on earth, which in some respects that could very well be true. But I mean, obviously these things are subjective, right? I think for me, America is a great place for opportunities to work and all that. That kind of freedom of expression to a degree, to an extent. But I mean, there's always consequences to free speech, right? But I think that developing countries, it's where it's at for the middle class in the future, and for certain types of people. I think they can thrive there. Once we get past some of the material bullshit, the consumerism, because a lot of Americans, they look at these developing countries and they look at the propaganda photos of poverty and people living in poverty and the worst parts of Manila and all this stuff. But there's such a rich life there for Westerners, in my opinion, and such a rich, resilient, beautiful culture, genuinely happy people, in my opinion. I mean, there's there's depressed people in any culture, right? And don't get me wrong, developing countries, they have poverty, and poverty is a real thing, it's not a joke. And all the drama that comes with poverty is real too. Alcoholism, generational cycles of those kind of negative mentalities, generational poverty, that stuff's all real too. However, there's certainly, I would say overall, much happier people in these cultures compared to the West. And that's a true story, man. They talk about this quote unquote mental health crisis in America, man. It's kind of a real thing. But some of the corporate kings and queens, like the guys that run these companies, especially these, not all, but some of these pharmaceutical companies, man, they're pretty much creating this vicious loop in the mental health industry, and people aren't really getting better, and they're just sort of dependent on all these substances and drugs in the West, and it's not helping anybody, dude. It's crazy. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those quick fix situations for some people, but overall, it's clearly not working. So I think one of the solutions is learning from the Filipinos in terms of simplicity, in terms of, I guess simplicity and not chasing the material there. So if we can somehow save money, get out of the matrix, I think a lot of Americans can have better lives in the future. If they learn to assimilate, if they adjust. It is possible. But we can't get stuck, especially in debt. That's a problem. But I mean, even debt's fixable too. I mean, a lot of guys, they go to these countries and they're kind of at wit's end. And, I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. So welcome to the live stream. Hit that like button, and I hope you're all having a great 2025 year end here. I'm close to Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, I'm approaching Phoenix. I'm kind of in the Southwest. I'm in the desert, and I like it down here, man. It's much more optimal driving conditions, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, YouTube is a trip, especially vlogging. They say most vloggers quit or burn out or whatever within 12 months, sometimes less. Some make it up to 2 years. So apparently there's only a small percentage of people that don't quit. So I was trying to figure out why that is, right? Anyway, I don't know why that just came to my mind. It just did.
100 miles, take exit 161AB on the right to Arizona 202 west, then keep left.
I went through a long period of my life where I was, I guess, what do you call it? Well, not really looking at religion, but looking at, studying the Bible and thinking about life after death and all that. The whole death thing, what happens after you die. And it was something that I just got, I got hooked on it for a long time. These existential questions, right? The soul, the spirit lives on and all that good stuff.
161AB on the right to Arizona 202.
Even when I was a kid, I would contemplate that stuff as early as 8 years old. I remember imagining that, what is it like? What does that even mean? When the body doesn't exist anymore.
Be in the left lane.
And it's like one of those eternal questions that most people ask themselves at some point in life. They don't really talk about it, I guess. I don't know. I do. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I'll talk about anything. I'm in that position in life to where I don't have to worry about, not getting hired or saying something publicly or something. I don't know. I kind of stand on my own these days. But anyway, life, I think it's something that a lot of people fear, man. Or they fear it at different times in life. Mortality, all this kind of stuff. And I think I went through a long period of studying theology and all this stuff. I think I finally came at peace, and I realized, we didn't create this world. I'm not God. I didn't create the life before me and after me and all this stuff. And you kind of realize that this stuff's not in your control now. Yeah, I kind of I kind of had some peace with that for some reason.
Continue on Congressman Ed Pastor Freeway.
I think part of that's stepping outside of the ego. I think men, we tend to want to understand everything. We want to explain everything. We want to control, right? We want to have a sense of control over everything, right? I mean, most people do. Most humans do, whether they admit it or not. It's all about control, hierarchy, power. For most human beings, it really is. When they're on Earth, that's the name of the game. Power, money, hierarchy, where they stand on the totem pole and all this shit. And that's a big deal for a lot of people, and people have different ways of going about it for survival, to thrive. And I think that's why, in a weird way, we're always hearing this stuff about, we're going to create a society and country where all men are created equal and have equal opportunity and equal this and equal that. And I guess in some ways, America improved on that in history in some respects, but I kind of feel like things just continue, and there's always going to be the kings and queens, and then the people that just sort of fall wayside, and then the disillusioned middle class that does all the work and thinks they're above the lower class and all this and that. It's I don't know, man. It's a trip, because has the world changed that much? I think we're less, like I said, healthcare has improved, obviously. Thank God for some types of medicines and all this and that, right? But you see even the way, the health industry gets weaponized against mankind, right? The psychopharmaceutical industry and all this other shit. I mean, you know how many corrupt doctors there are? These guys that go to school for 10 years, then they're in student debt. They overprescribe all this shit to people. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's good doctors, there's bad doctors, and all types of different types of doctors, right? Same with lawyers. A lot of corrupt professionals, man. They say that like even in the U.S. government, you know, like there's a lot of problems that could be fixed, but you realize like a lot of these guys are just running on. They don't want to fix certain problems because they need something to run on, dude. You know what I mean? It's just such a fucked up corruption, man. Not to be negative, but it kind of is what it is, and I think we can be naive. You know, and it's not that I'm suggesting that we need to be more cynical, but I think we gotta have realistic expectations in this world we live in, even America now. And I think for the middle class, it's just gonna, in some respects, financially get worse. And that's just the reality of life. And I think America is a beautiful country, man, and it's like, it's all good. But everything comes to an end, you know? Everything changes. And I think we just get stuck, like, especially as we age, especially older people, you know, like, oh, things aren't the way they used to be. Well, yeah, of course they're not, because fucking things change. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be comparing now to the past. Technology evolves, humanity evolves, everything evolves. But are you progressing? Are we progressing as individuals? I guess that's the question. It's kind of the way I see it. But I'm just a driver. Welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button, and I hope you all had a great 2025. We are currently outside of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm driving to California, and I just love being out here in the desert, man. I was up in the Northeast and the Dakotas and up north, and I'm like, man, I had to get out of that cold weather, man. It's like 70 degrees out, dude. Down here in the Southwest, man, the Sun Belt states. What's up? So yes, we've been asking some existential questions today. I think in a way the channel helped me too, personally, because I think sometimes in life we get bottled up. I think a lot of people are afraid to speak their mind. They're afraid to go public. They're afraid to even start YouTube and all this stuff because they worry about trolls and they worry about what will people think if I say this. And you know, a lot of people are afraid of losing their jobs, man. They're afraid of like their careers if they really speak their mind, right? And that's kind of how it goes, man. Like, we have free speech in America, but there's still an element of tribalism. There's still an element of you can't really speak your mind, right? And it's even like that, you know, in some respects on YouTube, because people they're always preoccupied, especially these algorithm chasers, man. Like, I've seen them. Like, you see guys that have a channel for a year, you know, they do really well, they get 40,000 subscribers, but then they kind of realize, like, they're kind of stuck within the confines of the algorithm, so to speak. And then they kind of, you know, some guys get bitter and resentful over their growth because they realize, oh, I can't really say what I want, right? I can't really, you know, because I've been growing this channel or whatever in a certain way, and now like the audience expects you to do this and expects you to do that, and they realize like they're not necessarily making that much money. They've kind of put themselves out there, their families out there. They're like, well, I don't want to just be, you know, a dancing monkey on a pin. I don't want to just make material because people tell me what to do, right? Because people get sucked into it, man. They get sucked into the attention, the dopamine, the quote-unquote fame, whatever that is. I don't say that like in a pretentious way. I'm just saying, however you want to gauge it, right? There's always going to be that element for anybody at some point if their channel's growing. And I think what happens to a lot of guys is they get disillusioned. And so I think at the end of the day, like if you don't make a channel for the right reasons, if you're really not trying to sincerely help people in some way, shape, or form, or inspire people, or develop real relationships with people, I mean, what's the point, right? Because most of these guys that you see even on these vlogs, dude, they're not making that much money, guys. I mean, I was even thinking, truly, I was thinking about posting like more specific statistics in my community section. I was thinking about doing this because nobody does this. And I think it'd be kind of interesting because like, I don't care because I'm confident in my numbers, my ratios and all this and that. Because we got a pretty good like audience on this channel and consistency in some respects, but yeah, analytics are interesting, man. Because the first thing that most of us look at, of course, is subscriber and view counts, right? So you look at the views, you look at the subscribers, those are the kind of public things that most people consciously or subconsciously look at to value, I guess, I don't know, I guess to value some things about the channel or whatever, how bigger it is and whatnot, but yeah, it's interesting, you know, because yeah, it's just interesting. I was always interested in like longevity on this platform and how that works. I was trying to wrap my head around it, like why so many people quit vlogging, right? I think the guys that cater to the algorithm, some of them do it very well. I'm not saying that cynically, I'm saying that's hard, right? And you're done. But from my observations, from what I've seen, like, you know, to have longevity, maybe it's about balance, right? I mean, I've only been doing this 3 years or so, and I think everybody at some point is like, geez, like, I don't, you know, they think about how, like, do I want to keep doing this or whatever, but I kind of like it. I mean, I go through waves, sure, ups and downs, and it's not always going to be, you know, high waves and progressively going up and up. I mean, that's just not the way life works. But I think some of the guys that, you know, cater and work really hard to make algorithm friendly videos, and especially if they got their family on there and stuff, I think it's, you know, one, it's a lot of pressure because you're not making that much money, right? Unless you're banging out 50,000, 100,000 views on every video, you're really not making that much money. And, you know, to make really well edited videos, that takes time, dude. That's like legit work, man. And I think, you know, some guys get to the point where they realize they're like, well, if I'm doing this for the money, it's not paying off. And so I think a lot of them just quit. But and then there's other guys that I think they started, and I think a lot of people do this too. It's like on some level, people want validation, man. They want validation for the life they live. To have a group, to have people that support them, encourage them, and validate what they're doing. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying, and that can be a healthy thing, dependent. But I think for some men, once the validation wears off too, they say, well, you know, what now? Because, you know, there's also, of course, drama that comes with it as well. And that's just part of the ball game, I guess. I mean, the internet is notorious for that. And, you know, a lot of people think that the expat Philippines vlogging community is the only, like, is severely toxic, but there's other toxic vlogging communities, dude, such as, like, the trucking community, for instance, had a lot of toxicity in it at one point. So anyway, it just depends, but, you know, I think vlogging can be a very healthy thing for a lot of people, man. Like I think this channel has helped me, and I hope that it's helping other people too on some level. I mean, sometimes I probably say things that naturally probably alienate some people, and I understand that. And sometimes I wonder if I should just be a little bit more maybe open-ended, or not open-ended, but I don't know, man. It's always that thing where what's the point of doing it if you can't do what you, especially a personal vlog. That's what I'm saying. Like most of these vlogs are people's lives, right? So if you got your family on there, you're growing your channel, you're doing all the right things, you're narrating, you're doing video overlays, you're editing, you got great cuts, you got a narrative, great camera angles, good quality videos, you got the wife, you got the kids, you got dad there and all this stuff. I mean, that's still your personal life, right? And so I think some guys probably at some point are just like, they feel like almost used in a sense, like, because they also realize, especially like in the mainstream, like in the big algorithm things, like, you know, these channels that get like 50,000, 100,000 subscribers, 150,000 subscribers, and whatever, like lots of views, like, you know, most, like 95% of those people, they're sort of just like, they may, or I don't know about that many, but a very large percentage just watch and never come back. And I think on some level people take that personally, right? Because it's like, well, you got these are like your kids and your wife and your life. And so I think some men probably get a little, and they quit, you know? It's kind of interesting, but. So like I was saying, man, I mean, I don't watch a lot of vlogs these days because for mental health reasons, I try to keep, I try not to watch too many of them. And there's some guys I don't particularly like, but I respect some things about them. So it's kind of like that. I guess I kind of admire resilient people. I admire people that can go through all sorts of shit and they keep coming back. Because, you know, I mean, people can be also, like vloggers can be disillusioned, partially delusional, but they have good intentions and they think they're helping people. And, you know, that takes a lot of character. I guess this just comes down to purpose. Like, what's our purpose now? Not just on like life and earth, but as vloggers, it's whatever you do. Like, what's the purpose? What the fuck is the purpose? What is the motivation? Are you helping your fellow man? Are we inspiring people? Are you putting out good energy, or are you just a fucking drag? I think that's what it comes down to in some respects, man. The older I get, the more mature I get. And I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I think sometimes guys just got to go out there and do what they got to do. There's always something inside them that's like telling them, or they got some deep dream or ambition, like they keep putting it off maybe, or you know what I mean? Like, I think everybody has certain aspirations or certain ambitions deep inside them or whatever. It's like, kind of like push that down sometimes, but I don't know, maybe age can do that too. So welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's Captain Trucker. I have my phone mounted so I can't see it. I can't see the comments, but when I pull over, I'll be happy to read them. I appreciate whoever's out there. Hit that like button as always. I hope you all had a good 2025, man. I'm celebrating the new year early. I'm just leaving the Phoenix, Arizona area, and we are headed to Los Angeles area. Yes, that is where we're going, folks. Then I'm going up to Washington. I kind of did a full circle, actually. I mean, I was in Maine. Yeah, I was in Maine. I drove to Florida, then to Minnesota, then to Texas, and now to California, then up to Washington. So that's just sort of my daily life, man. That's what I do.
Take exit 78A on the right to I-10 West. In 1 mile, take exit 78A on the right to I-10 West.
Breaking out of the Matrix, the future of expat life. Will tourism increase in 2026 in the Philippines? I guess it dipped this year a little bit. I mean, from my perspective, just looking at the numbers, I don't think it was as catastrophic as some of the people made it out to be, quite frankly. But you know, everybody loves drama. They need some shit to talk about. It's pretty typical. Especially vloggers. You know, see, the thing that's funny about vloggers is they get away with a lot because they don't have to follow the same rules as like journalists or people that report the news.
In either of the 2 right lanes, then take the exit to I-10 West.
So, I just thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, God bless them all, man. I want the best for most people. There's room for everybody. We can all win. I was talking about that a lot in 2024, though, about speculating about how many foreigners were going to settle in the Philippines and all that. Can't really remember why I got so hooked on that. Gotta figure that one out. But anyway, I've been enjoying some good conversations with some of the people that watch the channel lately, and I'm very grateful. There's been more people reaching out, and I'm not much of a I'm not much of a text guy or email, so if people want to reach out to me, you know, they can just send me an email. And I do WhatsApp. I call people, they call me, I text them. I'm not so much into text all the time. If somebody wants to talk about something serious, like, let's talk about it. I don't want to text, I don't want to email. I mean, if it's something serious, right? That's kind of important. I just find text can be very impersonal. So anyway, welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream. I hope you're all doing well out there, wherever you may be. We're out here in the desert, just west of Phoenix, and I guess the sun's going down now. I'm kind of doing my New Year's celebration, or New Year's, I don't know. I I guess I'm starting my New Year's celebration right now. Had a great workout today.
In 3 3/4 miles, keep left to I-10 West.
It's been a good year, man. I mean, I'm kind of working more these days. And it's been hard, you know, it's been hard. It's not easy to keep yourself, you know, mentally motivated, be a full-time vlogger and just, you know, feel great about every video and everything is going to just keep rocking and rolling and get views and subscribers and just, you go up and down, man. I mean, that's life, dude. It's like, but it's hard. Like, it's you know, it's hard to vlog full time and also trucking full time, man. And trying to exercise and trying to sleep and calling home and, you know. Actually, speaking of calling home, my son's calling me right now. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna have to pause this for momentarily. I got my one touch set up. Give me a second. All right. We're on the verge of Christmas. No, sorry, Christmas is past. The New Year. We're out here in the Arizona desert. We got the sun going down. I think the sun is down. We're just having a great conversation today about life, folks. Because this is it, man. We got to make the most of every day, every way we can, some way, shape, or form, man. That's what it's all about, dude. I think sometimes we always want more of something or always working for something. But sometimes the answers are right in front of you, man. It's like, just talk to the person next to you. Whoever it may be. That's it. There it is. I think the sun's gone down. Yeah, man, getting stuck in the matrix, getting stuck in the West. I mean, it's like people feel mentally stuck, and it's patterns of behavior. How do you break the cycle? I think it takes a cautious effort. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices. I think sometimes we got to make ourselves uncomfortable. I think we have this idea that comfort is somehow our friends and that people are always like seeking comfort, right? But comfort can kind of screw you up. I kind of like being on the little bit uncomfortable because then you kind of keeps you awake a little bit. Trucking's like that too. I mean, trucking will keep you uncomfortable for sure. But it kind of forces you to be a little bit more disciplined, right? Watch your diet more, train better, focus on your sleep and all that kind of shit. It's important stuff, dude. Especially out here on the road. I mean, this is what I do all day, every day when I'm not in the Philippines these days. But we can make pretty good money, decent money, real money. I don't say that to brag. I mean, like, I was able to save a significant amount of cash this year and invest it, but it wasn't easy, man. A lot of people like to make these videos about, let me show you how I made this, how easy it is. Like it's never fucking easy. If it's real, I mean, most people lie about money, but it's like, it's not easy to make legit on, and doing this channel and being Captain Trucker, I feel like I have a responsibility to put my money where my mouth is and work where my mouth is and make sure I'm making the money, like setting an example, right? Because we don't want to end up being broke expats in our 60s and 70s and 80s, right? We got to hit those thresholds, man. Compound interest, baby. No, it's not everything in life. It's certainly not. But there is a point in life to where I think most people have to take a hard look and say, I can't really fuck around too much. I got to really make some good investments for the future. I mean, a lot of people just depend on their pensions or something or Social Security, and that's fine. I think it's like I've said, trucking kind of provides options, in my opinion. If you do it right, options to work, to not to work, to stay liquid, to stay invested in stuff, and have options, man. I think it's all about options for me, for the middle class, anyway. I'm not one of the kings and queens, shuffling around millions of dollars or something. It's like, however, it's all about options. But I think we have this misguided interpretation or idea of comfort, right? Everybody's like, oh, comfort is king, or I want to be comfortable. But comfort can make you stale and lazy. That's what I'm saying. Too much of it anyway, right? Like, discipline's like a muscle. We gotta train it too. But anyway, welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all having a great day out there. Hope you guys had a good year. Hope you're staying positive. Well into the new year, man. Seem to be hitting some traffic. It appears so. Oh my goodness. got to keep moving forward, man. It's, we got to block out negative forces sometimes. Got to stay positive and all that, but I think that we can't be unrealistic in our ambitions either, Sometimes our egos can get ahead of ourselves, right? But yeah, there's always something inside you that tells you like you're not doing what you want to be doing on some level. I think most people have that inner voice, they call it, whatever that is. And I think a lot of people have like artistic ambitions, like in terms of expressing themselves through whatever it is, maybe as a musician or an actor. I never liked the term actor. I hate it because it sounds pretentious, but like, a lot of these quote unquote actors, they're channeling psychological stuff, emotional stuff, and they're playing a character, they got a script, of course, but it's like the words, right? Those are just words, but there's so much more going on in terms of projecting the appropriate emotion, intensity for whatever scene they're in or whatever, but it's like, it's kind of an interesting, it's a really cool art form, man. It really is, and the thing I don't like about, there's just a lot of noise in Hollywood, right? There's a lot of, in that whole industry, man. It's a lot of drama, a lot of noise, a lot of bullshit. So I gotta get around one day to I used to work on like an independent project, but I'm not really like a filmmaker per se. I'm not a cameraman. I can edit okay, but it's about collaboration, really. To make independent films, it's a lot of work. And, it takes a lot of work. Oh yeah. Well, what's cool about YouTube is like you can kind of, use it in some respects to, get across messages and stuff you want to talk about, kind of in a creative way, in a sense. But it's not film, right? It's not cinema. It's not. But it is kind of what you make it, right? That's kind of a cool thing too, is like the level of production or whatever you're doing on YouTube. It's kind of up to you, right? In a sense. The format's a bit different though. But yeah, anyway. But I think it is possible, like, people think like in their 40s or 50s, they're too quote unquote old to become actors or whatever, or to get involved in films or projects. But that's like really not true. Actually, it's, if you think about it, the industry's flooded with a lot of 20-something-year-olds, a lot of people that just, get into it for whatever reasons. Maybe they want attention, validation. The industry's flooded with that. There's less kind of like, more mature, weathered people that have actually experienced life, people that have real depth. You can kind of get that in your 40s and 50s. Believe it or not, I think in some respects, ironically, like some people would have a better, perhaps, different opportunities or whatever, but I think it's more about, I guess for me, I'm just more interested in like independent stuff. Even like some student films can be really well done, It's always about getting with the right people. So there's just a lot of bullshit to sort through, like in that whole genre. That's the part I don't like, but yeah, I mean, I always have like these different aspirations, but I'll figure something out, man. I used to have a YouTube channel years ago, man, like 15 years ago. But I didn't know much about, I didn't understand what to use it for, and so I kind of created like these different characters and stuff. It was kind of funny, but anyway, that was a long time ago, but yeah. Storytelling. But vlogging's cool, man, because you can tell stories, right? You know, I was talking before about how, like, even in vlogging communities, you know, among vloggers and stuff, like, people obviously got egos, and there's like always stuff going on that people whatever don't know about, and there's tensions or people that collaborate or don't or whatever, but it kind of reminds me of like the entertainment industry in a different way. Except I think, you know, Hollywood's more high stakes, obviously. Big budget mainstream stuff anyway, but that's a whole different ballgame, but yeah, it's an interesting world. Collaboration's important in a sense of like doing different projects to grow as a person. You gotta, you know, you have to work with other people in life, whatever work you're doing, you know what I mean? I think some people have issues with that, understandably. It's always about who you're working with in any job, whatever you're doing, right? Whatever company you work at, it's like you're gonna have difficult coworkers and stuff. I think part of me, what I like so much about trucking is you can kind of just say F it to all that kind of stuff. And I guess it's kind of got that hard-working cowboy element. And you can kind of be your own man out here, which is pretty cool, you know? But unless you stay connected in some way, like doing like, you know, the internet or whatever, it can also be isolated. So I've always kind of been walking that balance, I guess, mentally, psychologically, whatever that is. But I'm thankful for the channel, man. I really am. I'm thankful for the people that actually watch, and I really mean that sincerely. Like, I like actually talking to the people, because I think that's what it's all about in the end. It's like, who are you actually helping? Who are you working with? Who are you inspiring? I mean, some people are going through serious shit in life, dude. I mean, there's younger guys going out there, like, they're in real transitions in life, and they're changing careers, and they don't know who to relate to. They don't know who to talk to, because there's not a lot of younger guys out there. And, you know, I'm glad if I can help some people. So, whatever we can do. Whatever we can do, folks. Yeah, when I lived in LA or lived in the Los Angeles area, I mean, man, I think especially the younger people, dude, like so many of the would-be actors, like in their 20s and stuff, man, like a lot of them just have like really troubled backgrounds and stuff. They need purpose, they need direction and all this stuff, you know. So yeah, people get disillusioned. They get into, you know, there's always artwork and then there's business, right? It's kind of like two separate things. You know what I mean? It's like, and I guess for some people, it's about somehow fusing the two. However they do that. There's people all over the world that watch, man, and you know, when you're on for a couple of years, like some people come and go, and you kind of miss them, right? Like you think about people that used to come on the channel like a year ago or 2 years ago, and they were on, you know, they'd leave comments and they were supportive and they wrote interesting things and commentary, and then one day maybe, you know, you just don't hear from them again, and you're like. And I think that's the nature of audiences, the nature of groups, and some of it's not personal, maybe some of it's personal. People, you know, watch for a season. I get that, believe me, I do. I mean, I get, you know, you get viewer fatigue on anything. I mean, people get tired of their own material and all this. So I understand that. I understand that audiences cycle. I get that. And I think what people don't understand is like sometimes you worry about people, certain people. Especially if you were talking to them a long time and then suddenly you don't hear from them, it's like, geez. I mean, you just sometimes you wonder if people are okay, you know. Then of course a small part of you is gonna wonder, like, did I say something that they just get sick of me? I don't know. I mean, I say some pretty bold things sometimes. I can understand. But you know, there's always a lot of positive feedback too. People seem to get positive ideas, and that's cool. That's always good. We live in a spiritual world, man. And we got light on one shoulder and then darkness on the other and light. It's like, which one are you going to feed? Don't feed the bear. But that is true about light. A room full of darkness and one little beam of light makes all the difference, man. Follow the light, baby. Welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here in the Arizona desert, driving to the Los Angeles area. That is Los Angeles, California, 337 miles away. All right, so if you're out here in the desert and you're driving by, that actually happened to me once, dude. A guy was waving me down, and I thought maybe he was like some pissed off truck driver, like I accidentally cut him off or something, but it turns out he actually had seen the channel, man. That's a true story. That tripped me out. That doesn't happen a lot. It's not even that big of a channel. But hey, there it is. But, you know, I spend a lot of time out here in the truck, so I mean, like, those random occasions, I definitely, it's nice to be appreciated, right? That's always cool. That's life. Time to break the cycle, folks. We got to make changes in 2026, all right? We're getting to the point to where we got to stop dreaming. We got to start doing, man. We all have stuff that we're supposed to be doing that we need to do at some point in life. You know what it is. We all know what it is. And you got to get it done. Some way, shape, or form. It's never too late. I don't buy that age bullshit. I think personally most people get better with age. I think with age is like, it's always about health, right? In terms of getting into new things and new stuff. I mean, you realize for most people, like, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be an athlete. Dude, if you can just walk for 20 to 30 minutes, okay? All you can do, even if you're an old person and you're 300 plus pounds, just step by step, man, just move. And that's a great exercise. And the diet, it's the same thing. Once you get into that rhythm, there's always that, you know, barrier that you got to get over initially, but once you're in that rhythm, it comes much easier. That's very true. Very true. You know, like, I mean, Americans are notoriously have health problems from lack of exercise, dude. I don't know what it is, man. Like, some people don't like, we have this mentality that, like, exercise is like, oh, I got to do that. No, man. Once you start enjoying it, it's going to increase, like, you'll feel good feeling good, basically. That's a beautiful thing. It really is. We got strange mentalities, dude. Health is wealth, man. That's why, you know, I'm torn right now, dude, because I could be doing, like, I got offers with cryogenic companies, tanker stuff. I I mean, really good paying stuff, man. Like, I'd be making a lot more money, dude. However, when you're doing like hazmat and tanker stuff, you can't always drop the trailer, you can't go to the gym. Now, I can still exercise without the gym, like doing calisthenics and sprints and stuff like that in parking lots, but it's hard, man, to regulate testosterone without weights, right? So I'm kind of dealing with that. Like, how am I going to arrange that? Trying to figure that one out. Anyway, that's my issue. Welcome to the live stream, folks. I hope you had a good 2025. Hope you're all healthy. Hit that like button. Welcome to the stream. Wherever you may be. Welcome to the Captain Trucker live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here in the desert, coming up on the end of 2025, and it's been a fantastic year, folks. Been a lot of work, and that's okay. I kind of grinded relatively hard this year, and that's a good thing, because we're in crunch time. We're stacking cash, folks. Not playing around. It's time to get stuff done. It's go time, folks. I mean, I think throughout most of my life I've been in this. I think I'm becoming more aware of like the answers that we're looking for. It's not going to be given to us necessarily by what society has to offer. Like I think we're living in this spiritual realm, dude. Now, people might think that sounds a little bit odd, but I really believe we do, man. I mean, I think we're surrounded by principalities and powers and higher places. You know, good things, bad things, and all this stuff around us. There's a lot of stuff that we can't see, obviously. I mean, you can't really define the essence of a spirit, right? Because man wants to define everything. Man wants to control everything. We want to categorize everything. We want to explain religion, explain miracles, explain this. But we don't have all the answers, man. And I think part of growth is really realizing that, but also not being afraid of it, not being fearful of it. Because most men are full of bravado, some men are full of shit, they say they have no fear. But everybody fears something, right? At different times in their life. It can be really deeply internal type of shit. But what is it, you know? What is it that you really do fear? And what's the value of it? I mean, I know for a lot of people living a good lifestyle, like in the middle class, they would obviously fear losing that, like losing, you know, material status. But I mean, that stuff's not so important. And I think that's just that kind of stuff. But I mean, anyway, sorry. My point is that everybody fears something at some point in their life or whatever. And I think once they get past that, or they sort of come to terms and they face that, they're able to continue again towards the light, you know. But people get stuck. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Like, what is that gets us stuck? If anybody knows, let me know. Welcome to the International Captain Trucker live stream. We are in the desert tonight, going to California, currently west of Phoenix, Arizona.
Continue on iPad.
Yeah, we kind of been talking about some deep stuff in today's live stream, I guess. That's okay too, right? We can go deep. Let's go deep. How about that? Pull over eventually, maybe read some comments. You all like seeing the desert at night? I'm going to pull over in a mile. I got to pull over so I can see my phone and read some comments and make another protein shake. Rock and roll, man. You know, AI is really trippy, dude. You realize that AI gets people's like biographies wrong, and like it'll just make up the most like random, abstract, strange shit about people. It's kind of funny, actually. And you read it, and you're like, where the hell is it getting this from? Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm back. Welcome back, whoever's out there. Who was here today? What do we got? Kuya Dave is just here. Ewan Sol 85 from Turkey. Nielsma, thank you. That's very nice of you. Edward was here. Damn cars. Tangerine. Glad she's here as always. That's great, man. Many others. So anyway, we were talking about sorry to say anyway, having a very heavy conversation today, folks. That's okay. We can do that sometimes. dark outside, dude. I went shopping today, man. I got some food and bread and really good stuff, man. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Love it. Okay. All right. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I got to mix a protein shake, man. Great day. It's a great day. Now up to 120 grams of protein for the day. In case anybody cares. Sorry. I didn't mean to, when I'm driving, I can't see the phone, so I'm not able to see comments and read them while I'm driving. So sometimes I just have to like speak about what's on my mind. Loader from Sacktown. Oh, Officer Expat was here. That's good. Yeah, who do you want to be in life, man? Who do you want to be in life? That is the question. It's all interconnected, folks. That's my point. It's all interconnected, man. Everything's connected somehow. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. And like us men, we get stuck sometimes in life in existential stuff and you know, we study theology, and that's like good stuff. It's all good stuff, but like sometimes we're trying to figure out, you know, little old you, little old me, we're trying to figure out what this all means. Like, you know, the purpose of eternity and earth and the spiritual realm and what, you know, life after death and all this stuff. Is like, well, it's not really we're just passing through. Like, we didn't create this, in other words. I think I came to that realization more and more in recent years, that we don't have to figure everything out. We don't have to pretend to know everything either. You know, one thing I can't stand more than anything is, like, you know, that guy that always has all the answers, right? Like, most men won't admit what they don't know. They see it as weakness or something, but, you know, any man that acts like he knows all the answers, like, it's usually, that's like a sign of, like, I don't know, like ignorance, really. Because we just don't know everything. That's life. All right. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, folks.